Good evening. Welcome to the Living in Utah weekly live question and answer session. And on this week's agenda, we're going to talk about hot housing markets. New report came out April 21st, April of 21 on the hot housing markets around the country. So that we talked, very interesting, very, very surprising. I think you'll be surprised with the top 5 cities, and there's not a city from Utah in the top 5. As a matter of fact, in the top 10, there is not a Utah city. So going great in Utah this week. Today was another beautiful day. It's been about 80-degree weather all week. So just lovely weather. Can do pretty much what you would like outside. I've been doing some yard work this week on one of my rental homes and also fixing some sprinklers at my home last night, which the sprinklers are going right now. Hope they're working fine. It's a great time of year to do projects like that. I have lots of projects. I need to put some bark down and trim some trees, and the list just keeps going and going. So that's what I might spend Memorial Day weekend doing. But anyways, pull up a chair, grab your favorite beverage, glass of water, bottle of wine, cup of coffee. And this is a free-for-all. Welcome to ask me any kind of questions about the state of Utah. It's primarily what we talk about. I do get some people joining me from some international countries. And if you do have general questions, like about the United States or something like that, by all means, shoot it to me and I'll do my very best to give my opinion on it. But how's everyone doing this evening? It's a great time of year, Lots going on, lots and lots going on. So a couple other things going on as we're talking about the Memorial Day weekend. Anybody got plans for Memorial Day weekend? Anyone heading out of town? I was considering heading out of town, but it looks like we may not be going. We may have to postpone for a couple weeks here, but we'll see how that goes in the next day or so. Good evening. I've seen several homes for sale in Davis County this week. Is this a sign of increased inventory? Boom, boom. 100% correct. So, and I don't remember the exact dates, but I was telling people on here probably maybe 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, our inventory was along the Wasatch Front, and I'm talking from Logan all the way down to Provo, Utah, Spanish Fork, all the counties. Our inventory was approximately 1,900 homes. That's condos, townhomes, single family, all price ranges from entry level to multi-million-dollar homes. I saw that bump up to about 2,200 over the last, probably about 3 weeks ago. It stayed in the 2,200 range. This week when I pulled it up, we were at 2,600 some homes on the market. So inventory has increased. Now the question is that were people preparing their home during the spring and winter time for this time period? Or is it an indication that, maybe the market's slowing a little bit? There is one thing, though, that I do notice. As soon as we start hitting the end of May, if you have children in school, a lot of people will wait for their move. Say they get accepted for a job somewhere else, or they're retiring somewhere, they plan on moving out of state, then a lot of those people, they would like their children to finish the school year, then put their home on the market and make their move. So they'll delay job promotions, job offers as much as they can until this time period, like right now when school is ending. So that can increase inventory throughout the summer months by far. So that's just my guess on it. Who knows? It has increased. We're still seeing it very, very competitive, extremely competitive. So I did run another report. Somebody had made the comment to me that, I can't buy a home. Everything, people from California are coming here, all cash, boom, 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 boom. And I don't find that statement 100% true. There are some people with cash, but I'm noticing the people that I've worked with from California, that is one of the reasons some of those people are moving is they cannot get in the home market in California. They just have been priced out with what they make and what homes cost and the taxes they have to pay. So I've noticed that. So that's why some of the people made the move. So I pulled up a report, and over the last 30 days along the Wasatch Front, we had roughly 4,000 some homes that were sold. Out of that 4,000, there were 757, we'll say 800 homes that were a cash transaction. That was reported as a cash transaction. So the rest were financed or seller finance or lease option, which lease option, seller finance, I would imagine is probably very few of those deals. The rest were some form of financing. So the whole thing about there's a lot of cash offers going on. So that's 800 out of 4,000 purchases were on a cash transaction. So, and you got to include too, though, it's sometimes investors will be included in that number that will be paying cash. And sometimes it's not truly cash. Sometimes they're getting money from hard money lenders to make their offer look a little bit better. And then once they get into property, they do a refinance to get in the home. So that particular, there are people paying cash for homes, but it's not in the numbers that some people feel. And out of that 800, there's no breakdown. Was it someone who moved to the state of Utah, or was it someone who already lived in the state of Utah? Who knows? So who knows? You get all kinds of people. Sometimes people have lived in their home for many, many years and lots of equity and some money in the bank, and they just want a new home or upgrade a home, and they sell their home and they just can't afford to pay cash in that situation. So it's a good situation. Okay. So as we're speaking about Memorial Day weekend, they are predicting some overcrowding at Zion and the other national parks in Utah. They are expecting a very, very busy weekend at our national parks. And it was very interesting in the article. They called it COVID cabin fever. So that's the first time I've heard of that. COVID cabin fever. People have COVID cabin fever. A great term. But they expect there to be long lines, and they are encouraging people who are going to the national parks to please clean up after themselves. They've had a little bit of an issue with people leaving trash behind, et cetera, et cetera. So they're expecting a very busy weekend, which, if you're heading to the national parks, it's going to be crowded. But for the state of Utah, there's going to be some great money, great tourism money, the local businesses who probably really, really need the money down there. So it's great for them, especially the mom and pop stores down there that, I really worry about through COVID surviving. Jeannie, planning on relocating to Salt Lake City for a job opportunity, renting to buy. So you're looking at a rent to buy option, is what I'm assuming by that. Very, very, very difficult in this market. Very difficult. When it's a seller's market, the rent to own, rent to buy homes opportunities are very, very small. Very small numbers. It can just hit the market and sell outright, and people can cash out or do whatever they want in this market. Typically, when it's a buyer's market, you'll see more of those deals. People sometimes have a more difficult time selling their home, and they're more opportune to do rent to buy. So those deals are very hard to find in this market at the current time. So. What's your take on this? Yes. So exactly what I just said. It's tough, but you know, you may find one or two out there, but I would be very, very cautious and look at the very fine print and the details, and possibly have an attorney look over the contract just to make sure someone's not trying to take a large amount of down payment money off you with possibly no intention of ever selling you the home. So I would just say definitely have like an attorney, any kind of contract somebody would want to do on something like that. If they're doing their own contract, definitely have somebody look into that. But you don't find many rent owns. You don't even see the signs anymore. I can remember 10, 12 years ago, there would be signs in neighborhoods, rent to own, rent to own. So, okay. Should you rent first, then buy later? That's one option. That's one option. And it's an option that I have quite a few people doing at the current moment. It's a challenge buying a home in a market like this. And sometimes you may have to settle for a home that doesn't check all the boxes just to get into a home. Maybe you wanted a 3-car garage, or you wanted a Rambler instead of a multi-level. With the inventory low, sometimes there's not as much to choose from. If you're in a time constraint where I've got to find a home in 6 weeks or 4 weeks or 8 weeks and move, it does make it difficult, and you may not get everything on your wish list that you would like. By renting, it does give you the advantage of, it gives you two advantages that I really like. Number one, you get to learn the area. By renting, you get to learn the state of Utah and the area a little bit better and get your own personal feel for certain neighborhoods, whether it's north, south, and Salt Lake, east, west, by taking drives on weekends and getting a feel for neighborhoods, get inside. I mean, I can do videos on many different neighborhoods, but sometimes it's nice to have your own boots on the ground, walking the streets of those neighborhoods and getting a feel of what your opinion is on those neighborhoods. So, and not just what my opinion is on particular neighborhoods. So by renting, that gives you a lot of opportunities, and it also gives you the opportunities to get comfortable of where you work. And are you going to stay in that particular job? Maybe you get into that job and you don't like it for this or that, and maybe you're looking at moving to another company, so you can get a better idea possibly where you'd want to live. And also, what kind of recreational activities do you enjoy? If you have kids in school, scouts, maybe a particular church, maybe you're a skier, a hiker, a mountain biker, and you end up renting an apartment or a house somewhere, and all the activities you do are clear across town, and you're doing this 30-minute, 40-minute commute back and forth to work and to recreation and hobbies and etc. Then it gives you a better viewpoint on maybe I would rather live in this particular city because it's close to what I like to do, or I prefer this particular commute into work, or I like to take mass transit and take the train into work because I can get off the train right to work, and I'd rather not drive and just go on by mass transit. It gives you a lot of options by renting first. And then when you're a little bit more comfortable, give me a call, and then, we can look for a home to purchase for you. But it is a good plan, and it does work. I've got a few people that are actually coming to town, and they're going to rent, and we're going to tackle it once they're here and get comfortable in their job and feel a little more comfortable on particular neighborhoods they would like to explore, and then go from there. So out of curiosity, you don't have to tell me 100%, but what part of Salt Lake City would you be working in? It's a big area, north, south, east, or west. that the company that you have accepted a position in. Seems this is a seller's market. San Bernardino. When and how could this possibly change to a buyer's market? Great question. Well, in my opinion, you need for it to turn to a buyer's market, we need more inventory on the market, or we need less people out shopping for homes. Now, bringing more inventory on market is a twofold thing. One is new construction, and one is existing homes. New construction is tough. You just can't get through permit process and city council and everything there is to develop a parcel to build homes on and get the homes built, really, really quick. And, there's labor shortages, there's supply shortages. I just found out this week on a build that's going on that the mesh for the stucco is out. They don't know when they're getting that in stock. The exterior, the Sherwin-Williams white they're using on the exterior of the home, they're out, gone, out of stock. They don't know when. So we're literally waiting to finish the exterior of a home, and there's no materials. So it's brutal. So you've got increased inventory. That would bring down some of the competition. Less buyers. And one way to be less buyers is if the state turns into a situation where we have more people leaving the state of Utah than coming into the state of Utah. There is no projections at all that is going to change. Every forecaster or every piece of paper that I see produced by the state of Utah shows our population doubling. So there's going to be a need for housing. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. Maybe the state of Utah gets hit by some virus, and that was a joke from last year's virus. But I don't see the population going down. So now the other thing to look at, I'll make it three parts. The other thing would be the mortgage moratorium that we've got going on right now, where some people are not paying their mortgage. Some people say, it's going to create some foreclosures, et cetera, et cetera. You can't foreclose on the property. I don't look into it too heavily, not in the state of Utah. We have very low unemployment rate, and I personally feel that a lot of people who took the mortgage forbearance, and there's no facts on this, but I feel the people, it was just so that they didn't have to make a house payment. But I think most of them are gainfully employed, probably in the exact same job they were in. And when it comes time to start making those house payments, they're going to make those house payments instead of having the home foreclosed on them. So that's my take on that. But the third thing that is an unknown variable, and it's good and bad, is interest rates. We're historically low levels, and that has created a buyer frenzy. 3.1, 3.2, 3.3% loans, historically low. I mean, money is almost free. It's almost like they're giving it away. I am actually under contract for some commercial property, and that's what we're looking at, is trying to lock down that money long-term at a great interest rate. So I'll have that fixed cost on commercial development. We're looking at developing some commercial property with some other people, and we're looking at locking that down. And some people are saying, well, Mike, you're buying at the all-time high of the market. Well, possibly, but I'm looking at, I'm not looking at today. I'm looking at the future, because I believe in the state of Utah, and I believe that the growth is going to come, and housing and commercial is going to be needed. So I might as well get in now, and I'll look back at it and say, wow, that was a great deal I did, low interest rate, etc. So we are moving forward, full steam ahead. So interest rates, kind of got off tangent there a little bit, but interest rates, typically what creates interest rates to rise back up, one thing that could create that would be inflation. So got to look at the government's numbers on inflation. If we start seeing inflation creep up, then the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates. Typically, this is what they do. This is what they've done in the past. when they raise rate, and now be rates for everything, car loans, credit cards, home loans, it's the cost of doing business. It's going to depend on how fast and how quickly those rates rise. I feel that if it's maybe 0.25%, 0.5% over a 1-year period, I think the market can absorb those costs. But if we start going, 3.5 1 month, 3.75 the next month, 4%, 4 and it's, in a year's time, we're up to say 6%. That could change the market. That changes someone's payment drastically. If you're looking, say, a $500,000 home at the low 3% compared to 6%, your payment could go up $600-$700. I'd have to get a calculator to work it out, but it would go up. So someone's buying power would be greatly reduced. And that's how we buy homes, is based off of what do we qualify for. So if we only qualify for $2,000 a month, then the mortgage companies say, well, you can afford X amount of home, $450,000, $500,000, whatever it is, depending on what you're putting down on the home. So if we see interest rates go up, we might see a cooling of the market and possibly depends how high they go, a turnaround to a buyer's market. So, and I can't predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with the stock market. I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin. A lot of people have opinions on it, but if we do see interest rates go up, I think it will affect the housing market a little bit. And that also comes at a caveat. If your interest rate's up here and the housing market goes down, say 10%, so a $500,000 home goes down by $50,000, will you still be paying more money with that higher interest rate for that home, although you're buying it at $450,000? But if you're paying a 6% interest rate as opposed to in the threes, it might still be cheaper to pay $500,000. Have to work that out on a calculator, and when that time, if that time comes, we'll have a little bit better understanding of it. But I don't see anything down the road here that it's going to improve. If anything, I think it is, at least for the next 4 or 5 months, we're having a real tough time with new construction. At one point, it was just the price of the lumber and price of concrete and price of copper. Now we're running into shortages everywhere we turn. There's another development that I was just at that somebody has a lot reserved to build a home on it. And we are literally waiting for them to bury in a canal. The city wants the canal buried in. There's no pipe for the canal, and they don't know when the pipe is going to arrive. No pipe. So it's challenges like this that are slowing down new home development. I mean, this development was supposed to have went online last summer, and we are still fighting to get this development going in this neighborhood. So, and I'm hearing about the paint. A friend of mine is a commercial painting contractor, and his supplier told him to buy as much paint as he can because they think they're going to run out. And now I see that the Sherman-Williams white on the exterior is out. I don't know how long. And he literally took out $100,000 and filled his shop with as much paint as he could buy so he could continue working the rest of the year. So I think that's going to hurt us next few months with the shortages and the supply shortages. So long answer to a short question. Sorry about that. All right. West Salt Lake City, I believe. Okay. There is a lot of commercial development on West Salt Lake City. More so towards the northwest corner is a lot of development out there. Okay, great. You'll be real close to the airport. Gives you an opportunity to live in a lot of areas. You can live to the south, and you can also live to the north, and you'll have access by different roads to get to work. So, Mr. Z, I'm just going to invest in stocks until I can buy a house outright. There you go. There you go. If the stock market does not go down, so doesn't go down. So I don't know. There's different ways to look at it, Mr. Z. Let me give you another viewpoint. And this was my thinking. And I may not have all the tools in the toolbox, and I don't own Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, et cetera, et cetera. But many years ago, a few years back, I'm a big golfer, and I had the dream of having a winter home somewhere that when I retire, I could go to play golf. Basically, that was it. So I said to the wife, this is my plan to do it. I'm going to buy a house in a sunny area, and I'm going to make someone else pay the mortgage. And then when I go to retire, I'll have a paid off home. And that's what I've done. So I chose Las Vegas. I wasn't too sure exactly where I wanted to go, but I chose Las Vegas because it's right down the road. And I was thinking, well, I can drive. I don't have to fly, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what we did. I bought a home down there. I have rented the home out for many years now. And the rent, the mortgage has stayed the same. The rent has always increased. And I am paying on that home. So one day, hopefully, it is paid off, which we do see in the future. My plans have now changed. I don't think I want a home in another area. I'm going to keep it now probably as an investment. And the current market rate's down to about $1,500 a month. And I just feel that $1,500 a month would buy me, that's $18,000 a year roughly in rent. Let's just say $18,000. I could vacation anywhere I want to pretty much around the world and stay in hotels for that kind of money. So that's what my thinking is now, instead of having a home that I can go down to and spend a couple weekends golfing and mountain biking and hiking, et cetera, et cetera. So that's another way to look at it. So basically that vacation home is being paid by someone else. So, and I have not had, when one renter has left, I have found another renter. It's been maybe 1 month's worth of rent I've paid, or one mortgage payment I've paid on that home, probably over 12, 13 years, somewhere around there. So another way of thinking. Is it wise to buy townhomes since the prices are way too high for single home? Nope, townhomes are great. I've got people going in townhomes all the time. I have a lady right now I'm just on the phone to today that is moving out here into a townhome. So townhomes are becoming, the townhome demographic has changed. At one time, it was thought of as maybe, like a starter home, young couple gets into a townhome, then they buy a home. But now I've got more and more people who are working professionals, both spouses work, and also retirees that just want like a townhome that someone else is going to do the snow removal. They're going to do the yard work. They're going to maintain the property, and they do not have to deal with it. And I can think of one individual in particular. He's a retired man living in a townhome. And when I call him, we have a conversation every once in a while, once a year, maybe once every 2 years. And he tells me he is busier in retirement than when he worked a job, with vacationing, grandkids, his own kids. He's just doesn't have time. He literally does not have time. And he loves the townhome because he comes and goes, and he's taxi service and takes the kids to school and everything. He's busy all the time. So townhomes have attracted a lot more buyers. And I think in the future, it's going to be that way also, especially with like retirees. The retirement lifestyle anymore, you find a lot of people are busier in their retirement years than when they worked. They are just busy. So, and they love the ease of a townhome. Don't mind paying the HOA and don't mow the grass and the flowers, etc. And so they just come and go. So, do you like townhomes? JW, we are looking to retire from Pennsylvania to Utah in about 10 years. Great. I have to ask you where you are in Pennsylvania. My family is originally from Pennsylvania. We're from the Pittsburgh area. So would you do it right now with a mortgage, or wait 1 to 5 years with a mortgage, or wait 10 years and cash buy it? I'm assuming you mean to take a mortgage out now on a home, although you're not going to move here for another 10 years. Or just wait 10 years and pay cash for it. Wow, I think there's a lot in that question I don't understand, or maybe some items that I would like to dive into a little bit more. It's, if you were, I guess if you were to buy now in the state of Utah, I assume you would put it as a rental, and instead of leaving a home empty, unless you planned on coming out here and using it as a vacation home throughout that time. And I guess if you're in a financial position to do that, then great. The other question will be, is what will prices be in 10 years time? And that is, I wish I had a magical wand to know what the prices will be in 10 years time. My opinion is, even if we have a market correction, we are going to be back up with the amount of people moving here that's projected, and the population expecting to double in the state of Utah. There's going to be a need for housing. I don't see that need slowing down at all. So hopefully that answered your question. Mr. Z, I'd be interested in staying in Hanover, Pennsylvania. Best place for pretzels. Yes, I have heard that. So as I was shoot some questions up, you got some more questions by all means, but I was going to roll right here onto the article that came out on housing markets. So Utah did not make the top 10. We are on the list. There was 100 cities on the list, but very interesting. Hottest housing markets, April 2021. Number 1, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Number 2, Austin, Round Rock, Texas. And I'm not surprised about Austin. I do hear about that. I was a little bit shocked about Coeur d'Alene. I did not realize, I know it has attracted a lot of people to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, but I did not realize they would come in at number 1. If anywhere in Idaho, I would have thought it would have been the Boise area. Springfield, Ohio in number 3. Totally shocked. I don't know much about Springfield. Number 4, I was shocked. Billings, Montana. I have a question about that one. People who are moving to Billings, Montana, the winters there are brutal. Literally, it is brutal. It's a different world up there. The cold winds, the drifting snow, and the feet of snow that can pile up. It's and when they do push the roads with the snow, it still stays packed down. So you're driving on snowpack roads a lot of times, and that will not clear up. Where in Utah, most of ours, it melts. The sun comes out and the roads are dry. It's different ballgame. So I wonder how many people will move to Billings, Montana, and possibly move out of Billings, Montana. So that'd be my question. I think it's beautiful. The summers in Montana are absolutely beautiful. One of the most gorgeous places you could visit in the United States is Montana, no doubt. And number 5 on the list would be the Spokane, Washington area. I was a little surprised about that one too, but some other notable things, as we talk about California, as I get a few people from California, Santa Cruz was it number 10, and number 13 was Eureka, and Arcadia, and number 15 was Modesto, and number 18 was Sacramento, California. And this is my take on those cities right there, and why they've got such high numbers. And in my take, it's not all from people moving into the state of California. I just did a video about how California's population is actually declining. What's happening in those markets is the LA market, San Diego market, San Francisco market. people have the opportunity to work from home are moving to more affordable areas of California and living in those areas like Sacramento, Modesto, Santa Cruz. So they're getting out of the big cities. And we're finding that around the country. Boston is very similar. Chicago, even areas like Manhattan, New York City. People are moving out if they have the opportunity to. So Utah did come on the list, and you might be surprised. We came in the list on number 33, and the area that came in there is the Ogden-Clearfield area. So surprising some people. We came in the list at number 51 with Provo, Utah, and number 53 was Salt Lake City. So that was a little bit of a shock for a lot of people that the Ogden-Clearfield area came in higher than the Provo, Orem, Salt Lake City. But I've noticed that over the last few years, especially with some of the companies that are coming into the Utah County area down there, the commercial real estate down there has just gotten absolutely crazy pricing. Multi-million-dollar buildings have gone up. So a lot of other companies that want to move to Utah that are looking at that area sometimes can't afford the real estate right there. They literally just can't afford real estate. So they are looking at other areas like the Ogden area. And more companies are now coming to the Ogden, Clearfield, Layton area. And we've also got in that area, a lot of government contractors are also expanding their operations in the area. And it's not just one company, it's a vast majority of companies that all support. I think most of it's to do with the new F-35, actually. Maybe my take on some of that and some of the other new government programs we've got going on. But so that was very good. Okay, Mr. JW, Reading, Pennsylvania. Okay, great. Yes, buy now to move out in 10 years. Yeah, you know that's a tricky question. This is the advantage. This is the pros, and I'm shooting right off the top of my head right now. But this is the pros with doing that. You're getting in at a very low interest rate, and that's a fact. And I don't think in 10 years' time, I don't believe in 10 years' time we will have 3% loans. That's just my take on it. I do believe prices will be up in 10 years' time. And the third thing is, I just said earlier about the place that I bought in Las Vegas. Gives you the opportunity to purchase a home, rent it out, and let someone else pay that mortgage for the next 10 years, which would be a huge amount of money. And the rental market in Utah is very strong. You would have no problem renting out a home in the state of Utah. The downside is renters. So some people will not treat the home in the way that you would probably treat the home. So if you were to do that, my advice would be is to save some of that money that you are renting it out for on the contingency that 6 months before you move out here, that you possibly will have to go in there and have new carpet, flooring, paint, maybe countertops installed from stuff that's gotten dirty, nicked, scraped, dog chews up the carpet, etc., etc. And if you're willing to set aside that money and be prepared for that, then you can just say, here, redo my home and move into a home that's just been redone with, you get to choose your new paint color, your new flooring, your new, whatever you're going to replace in that. So it does have advantages, but that is one disadvantage that I would see is with a renter like that, with possibility of a renter. But it's a great opportunity to let someone else pay the mortgage, and I love that decision. So doing it myself many times over. I'm a big rental guy. So whether it's single family, commercial, you name it, fourplex. I love the rental investment, but that's one option. So for me to say that interest rates in 10 years will still be at 3% and home prices in Utah will be at the same level they are right here would be a far stretch. Really would. So For your information, I haven't found Bachman butter twists in Northeast Utah. Okay. I'll keep a lookout myself. I'd be worried about thieves. No, my house is vacant and stripped of its copper pipes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I have not heard of that in the state of Utah, but as material costs go up, and right now, I just read an article on KSL probably about a week ago that your exhaust repair shops in the state of Utah are one of the number one broken in businesses. They are breaking in to steal they used to just steal the catalytic converter off your pickup truck outside with a sawzall and then go sell it to scrap metal because the materials inside the catalytic converter are worth so much money. Now they're breaking into businesses and they figure we'll just, instead of steal one catalytic converter, we're going to steal their whole supply of new catalytic converters. So I guess it's a little bit of a problem. So, yeah, crazy. But yep. And actually, in the state of Utah, when you're talking copper pipes anymore, there's from probably the late 90s when we went to the PEX piping, and all the homes from there onwards have been done in the PEX piping. So very little copper. Have you been on Draper Suspension Bridge? I have not. Great. Any more questions this evening? It's been a great night. Lots of great questions. And I will be back next week, the exact same time. Appreciate everyone's questions. If we don't have any more questions, I might. Curtis Wilson. Hello, Governor. Are you putting my name in the hat for Governor of Utah? I would have a hard time winning that election. Our current Governor Cox, I like the man. I did not vote for the man. And he has impressed me 100%. He is a grinder out there working. I thought he did an excellent job with the COVID virus. He just took over in January. Mobile sites. He established sites to get shots in people's arms, and he is working on potential fire issues we're going to have in the state of Utah. We are in a drought this winter, so they are really worried about fires in the state of Utah, and he is coming up with a plan to help with the fire season. So he's doing a fantastic job. And some of the things that he says will just like blow your mind. To come from a governor, he announced months ago, he had the mask in his hand, and he said on July 4th this year, we're all going to throw our masks away and we're going to enjoy the 4th of July with no mask. And to come out with a statement like that was just kind of remarkable. And I heard him last week, and he said not to watch the cable news networks like Fox News and CNN. It was not reliable, and that was interesting. Hey, I was wondering the cost of living in Utah. I thought about moving there. Yeah, the cost. I have a couple videos on my channel. I just did one. Maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks ago with the cost of living in Utah. And I literally go over my own personal bills in the state of Utah. I went over some average home prices, average rental prices, what I actually pay to live in the state of Utah, like electricity, gas, the price of fuel, I believe I include in there. I think I went to the grocery store, took pictures of some items I buy every day, like milk, bread, etc., what the price of gas was, what my electric bill was, gas bill, all these different things, how much it cost me to register a vehicle, or what the registration fees are, take a look at that video, and you can compare it to where you live. I also went over things like if you were to purchase a home, roughly what some of the property taxes cost in the state of Utah. So okay, Curtis, are there jobs like that there? Oh, I skipped your one question. I was also wondering, because I do life and AC and heat distribution. Okay. So I take it you're an HVAC guy. Then there are plenty of jobs in the HVAC community. So probably would have no problem at all. And you could shoot some feelers out there throughout the area, through some of the different counties, and get an idea. But I believe that there's a need. We have a shortage in all the trades, especially in the construction trade. So, all right. What's the base and safe place to live raising a family? Okay. So I also have a video on that, and to look on my channel that goes over some of the areas. There's also some websites. There's also some state website that talks about the crime rates. You can pull up city data, everything. It'll report various types of crimes, et cetera, et cetera. I do have a couple videos out on those particular subjects too. Tell us a joke for a thumbs up. Lyft driver as well. Wow, that's a good one. Tell us a joke. Trying to think what. Nothing comes to mind off the top of my head, but I can tell you a good story, because I just told this story to someone else today, and it's kind of funny. Curtis, what is the best place to visit there? If you're coming on vacation, as far as visiting, I would, if you want to visit the areas, I would go from Logan, Utah in the north, all the way down to the Spanish Fork area, and in between, and get a feel for the vibe, what you feel comfortable with. If you're coming to Utah also for a vacation, I would recommend possibly going out to maybe areas like Antelope Island. Park City, Utah is always great. And we have 5 national parks that people come from around the world to visit the national parks. So pick any of the national parks. I think you'll have a great time. Some amazing scenery, some of the best scenery. But this is the other thing I say, Curtis, with a little indentation. If you are coming from a distance, let's say you're coming from the East Coast, I would spend some extra time and see the whole area, not just the state of Utah. We have some great neighboring states. We have the Grand Canyon to the south. We have Las Vegas to the south, if that's your type of entertainment. Grand Canyon, I think, is one of America's greatest treasures we have, most remarkable place there. But also to the north, go through areas like Idaho, Montana. Montana is an area that very beautiful. In Jackson Hole, Wyoming, very, very beautiful Jackson Hole. And Yellowstone National Park, probably one of my favorite national parks in the country. So if you get opportunity, time, if you fly into Salt Lake City, you could rent a car and hit all those areas, whether you want to go south or you want to go north. When we're talking from Salt Lake City to the Las Vegas Grand Canyon area, you're 6 to 7 hours. Up there to Jackson Hole, you're about the same distance, probably about 6 hours from Salt Lake City. Into Montana, you're a little further, maybe 7-hour drive, 8-hour drive. But so if you're coming from far away, say the East Coast, or from a foreign country, maybe you're in a foreign country, I would visit the whole area. Some great opportunities. And even if you don't move to the state of Utah, you'll get to see this part of the country. And, I love it. Absolutely beautiful. So. Best place to visit there. Okay, that's about most. I went back to your joke thing. I was telling a story to somebody, and they were asking me about, unique experiences. So I was out golfing today, and they were out, a unique experience, and I said that this is one top of my list. They're a young couple, just married, and this is a few years ago, and I got along with them very, very well. As a matter of fact, the wife, we joke back and forth, no end of being able to joke about different homes, et cetera, et cetera. They were looking to buy a house. So we were in this house, and she opened this cupboard and shut it. And I said, what's it like in there? Because I was in another room. So what's it like in there? And she goes, oh, someone just left their snake behind. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah. Give me yeah. So I opened the door, and there's this like 6-foot long snake. Shut the door as fast as I could. I'm not a fan of snakes. So I thought she was totally joking. And this is an empty house. So I called the listing agent, and I said, oh, by the way, you've got a live snake in here. And they're like, well, the owner's left. I'm like, so I've got a snake in this house that's been in here probably for a month with no food. Great. And she's like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, so I said, well, I'll sort it out for you. Let me see what I can do. And I was trying to come up with ideas. So I had to call the wife. My wife's a veterinarian. So I called her, and I'm like, I got a snake in the house. How do I get rid of it? And she was like laughing so hard on the other end of the phone. So she's like, oh, there's this big guy, he can't handle a snake. But so she knew some people that worked at animal control. So she called one of her friends there to come over. And both of them, the two ladies, were just laughing at I didn't want to handle a snake. So they went in there and they removed the snake. So that's how I sorted out the issue. So I wear many hats some days. So that's kind of a funny story. It has not happened again. So while I was waiting for the wife to show up and animal control to show up, I asked the neighbor next door about the people who had been in there. And he said, well, they used to raise rabbits over there, and we always used to see the rabbits disappear. So I guess now I know. But there was like a weird smell in the basement, and I wasn't too sure if possibly like a snake had died behind the sheetrock or somewhere down there. But who knows? All right, Curtis. I left Georgia for Texas. Now I'm a little burnt out of Texas and want to find a new place for my family. So, I've got a lot of great videos to watch for you, but when I hear the word family, that's what I describe Utah as. We are a family state. And I always compare us with our neighbors down south, Las Vegas. Now, I love Las Vegas. Go to Las Vegas all the time. But we are different than Nevada. I mean, they're the party capital of the world, and there's probably a bar on every corner, and there's probably a strip club on every 2 blocks. But in the state of Utah, we're a family state. Everything evolves around the family, whether it's kids recreation, outdoor recreation, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we're known for. We're a family state. Family is very important. State of Utah, you will find that some people have families that are rather large. It's not uncommon to have 4, 6, 8 kids. So we are a family-oriented state. And this is how we differ. If I had to say how we a little bit different than maybe like Texas. Let's say you're working at a company, and the weekend comes up, or it's Monday and you get back off the weekend. What a lot of people talk about in Utah is, what are you doing for the weekend? And a lot of people here, they're going camping, hiking, fishing, skiing, golfing, and that's what it revolves around. Not as much as maybe in some states where people are like, well, we went over such and such neighbor and got a keg of beer and had a pool party. A lot in the state of Utah involves around family. So, and outdoor recreation, et cetera, et cetera. And that's how I would describe the state of Utah. So, all right, Mr. Andy, if going to the Grand Canyon, make a reservation. I went once and was very lucky to get a room. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Grand Canyon is it has national attention, but it has world attention. People around the world come here to go to the Grand Canyon. So, but amazing place. And number two, Curtis, too. Another thing is when we're talking down there, if you've got kids, you got family, you can go down what we call the four corners, which would be Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico. And you can literally be in 4 states at one time. So that's a unique experience, especially if you have kids. That's amazing. So I definitely want to check the Spanish part you talked about. Spanish Fork is a city. When I was referring to the areas, yeah. So yeah, Spanish Fork, Provo, Orem. Spanish Fork is a city. So I've been to Mexico and Texas, a little bit of New Mexico. Yeah. So when I mentioned Spanish Fork, I wasn't referring to like a particular culture that is in that particular area. That's the name of the city, is Spanish Fork. So, Mr. Z, in Provo, I saw a church on every block. It's probably true, Mr. Z. There's one strip club I know of, Southern Exposure. That's probably correct. I mean, bars and strip clubs are not illegal by any means in the state of Utah. We do have them. We do have them by all means, but you do not find the amount as you would in other states. Just simple. We're a family-oriented state. You'll find cities are, when they develop cities and they spend a ton of money on parks and recreation. Some of my videos, you can see I've done some city videos like Bountiful and Salt Lake City, et cetera, and I go to some of the parks. If you watch some of those videos, that's just some of the parks that I show up at. There could be 7, 8, 10 parks in that particular city. A lot of money is spent because they know a lot of families love going to the parks and raise their kids there and have a day out. So a lot of money is spent around the family, and the youth programs in a lot of cities is just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Matter of fact, the city I live in, I would just try to go over there to drop off some items, and the parking lot was full, had baseball going on and soccer going on. It was just so great to see. After last year with COVID, we shut down so much of that. It was great to see the little kids out there just having a blast. Great time. Oh, okay. That's amazing. Which area do you live in Utah? I live in the north. Mr. Z, Po To restaurant is the best Vietnamese food. Okay. Mr. Z, Layton. I'm assuming that's in Layton. Okay. Yes, I have not been to a lot of Vietnamese restaurants. So yeah, I am very limited on my knowledge on that restaurant culture for sure. So no. It's out by the airport. Okay. Salt Lake Airport, I'm assuming. But yeah, great. Have not been there, but I'm always willing to try something. My niece, she cooks a lot of she loves cooking, so she's always trying different cultures, and that's how I get some of my like Vietnamese food, Chinese food, Korean food, et cetera. So, all right, Mr. Z, that's out. Redwood Road, Taylorsville. Okay. Great. I'll definitely give it a shot. Mr. Z, have you been to any of the places that I've listed on any of my videos? Place to eat, like Salt Lake City, Provo, Ogden. I've done a couple videos on places that I've eaten at also. What's the food like over there? And besides the family culture, what other cultures are in Utah? Well, we have all cultures in Utah. We're very, very diverse area. As far as what the food is like, we're not known particularly for anything that originated really in the state of Utah, except stuff like fry sauce and one or two other things probably. But what we're known for in the state of Utah is it's a great state to open a business. Very, very pro-business. State of Utah is very pro-business. And we have a lot of great mom and pop restaurants in the state of Utah. And I've done some videos on that. I believe I did Ogden, Salt Lake City, Provo, Orem area. I also did one for Hill Air Force Base, around the area for Hill Air Force Base, where people are moving to the base on areas to eat at. But everywhere that I chose on my video was a mom and pop business, not one of the national chains a lot of people are familiar with, mom and pop businesses. So I love so there's a lot of mom and pop businesses. And the Diners, Dives, and Drive-In show, he has been to 6, 7, 8 establishments in Utah. He has done quite a few shows. Salt Lake City, Park City, Roy, Utah. A burger bar was on there. I know in Roy, Utah. Quite a few places. Red Iguana in Salt Lake City. He's been there a couple times. Great place. Great place. Other than fry sauce and pastrami on cheeseburgers, are there any other food items unique to Utah? Okay, Mr. Jazz fan. The Jazz lost one in game 1. I was a little disappointed in that, by the way. So, yeah, that's about what unique food items would be it. You've hit the nail on the head there. So, it's yeah. I think we're more known for the opportunities in the mom and pop businesses, and there's some fantastic places to eat at that just amazing. All right, Mr. G, Just a Mandarin, great place. I love that place. It is my favorite Chinese restaurant in the whole state of Utah. So, Roosters on 25th Street. I have not been there in a long time. So they do have a Roosters in Layton also. So, it's good. Burger Bar. That Burger Bar was on Diners, Dives, and Drive-In. Great mom and pop business. They have been around for a long time. Latina, I'm approved to buy a house, but can't win the offer. Are the homes selling fast in Utah like Texas? Correct. Yes, Texas is on fire. Utah is on fire. There's a few things I do to win homes. I mean, we're winning homes all the time. It's you have to let your offer stand out. So, and you also have to be prepared to know what's happening in that particular neighborhood as far as pricing goes, and you stand a better chance. So, I don't know if Richard's on here tonight. Richard could chime in. Richard got a little bit frustrated, I think, at the beginning with finding a home, and he is a happy homeowner now. So, and sometimes he's on my things. I don't know if he chimes in here, but he could give us a little viewpoint. But it's competitive. There's some things you can do to make your offers stand out. And sometimes it's down to the relationships too. You've got to look at the perspective of the selling agent or selling agent that's representing the homeowner. There's a lot of sellers. They're looking at a vast variety of offers, but what they want to know is which one of those offers is going to make it to the closing table. That's their number one, is going to make it to the closing table. And sometimes having a good relationship with other real estate agents really helps out, because they can turn around and say, "Hey, I know that Mike guy, and he's going to not mess around, and we're solid, and I have confidence in him. And by the way, he'll pick up his phone too, and that's important." So, all right, bye. Do you ever waive the home inspection order to win? No, we don't. We have not. Do you have a good selection for recommending a real estate agent for Utah? Oh, Curtis, I can help you right along those lines. That's what I do every day. 100%. when you're not recommending me to run for governor. I guess if I run for governor, I probably wouldn't have time to help you buy or sell a home. But anyways, yes, that's what I do for a living every day. Dear Mrs. Homeowners, I will be kind to your neighbors, friends, keep my grass cut, and pick up litter around the whole neighborhood. Sincerely, Mr. Z. That's what it takes sometimes too. That's what it takes. So yes, there's nothing wrong with companion letter. So it's worked for me. Yes. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Please sell me your home. Oh, Curtis. No, it's all good. I say hello, Governor, to all folks. Okay. All right. I thought maybe you'd watched quite a few of my videos and thought maybe I was material to run for governor. No, it's not my thing anyways. The whole politic thing. Gives me the creepers actually. Are the Utah Jazz going to win the championship? Alex, great question. I had high hopes for them because they've had a great season, and I thought that they could go toe-to-toe with anybody. And they've gone toe-to-toe with anybody this year. But losing the first game, I was a little disappointed. Playing at home, and you're the number one seed, and I was a little disappointed. So maybe it was just a one-off game, and maybe we sweep the series now. But this is our best shot. This year is probably our best shot. Who knows next year how many players stick around, how many players leave. But I think if you're going to win one now, while you've got this nucleus of players, now's your opportunity. We've only ever had one real opportunity, and that's when Stockton and Karl Malone were playing, and we went up against the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, and we gave them a great run for their money. But Jordan turned into Jordan time and sunk some game-winning shots. So I wasn't totally disappointed because I'm a big Jordan fan. I think he's one of the greatest to ever play. So as a Jazz fan, to lose to somebody, I was okay losing to Michael Jordan. But it does get a little competitive for me there on the Jazz. I do enjoy the Jazz, but I also enjoy the Portland Trailblazers too. There's a young, he's not young anymore, but Damian Lillard, probably one of the best players in the NBA. He went to school locally here at a small college called Weber State. Matter of fact, when you say Weber State around the United States, people are like, where's that at? So remarkable story. I believe he came to Weber State, had no other scholarship offers except Weber State. Took the opportunity, make the most of it in the NBA. One of the greatest players currently in the NBA. So I've got an eye on him. Got to watch him play college ball quite a bit. And so always keep my eye on the Portland Trailblazers. I think he's an amazing man and want to see the very best for him also. So, and they play in the Western Conference. So if both of them make it to playoff here, it'll be interesting. So I still probably have to root for the Jazz, but I definitely will have my eye on Damian Lillard. So, guy's great. Any more questions this evening? It's been an hour and 10 minutes. It's been a great night. I'm going to wrap it up here and call it an evening. Back again next weekend. Always email me, text me, etc. Hope everyone has a great Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be a great weekend in Utah for weather-wise. So if you're an outdoor fan, just absolutely beautiful. Low humidity, 80-degree weather projected all weekend. That's correct, Mr. Z. That was last night's game. Jazz over the Grizzlies. So like the sound of Utah. What's the sunset there? The sunset is absolutely amazing. One really cool thing to do is watch the sunset and sunfall, sunrise, sunset. Places like Antelope Island, you can go camping out there and watch both. Beautiful, beautiful. What's the weather right now? Well, currently outside, it's just turning dark now. I would say we're probably in the low 70s outside. We hit a daytime temperature of probably about 81 degrees in northern Utah. Low humidity, absolutely amazing, gorgeous. I got a chance to go play some golf this afternoon, and ideal. I mean, just absolutely enjoyed the outside weather. Great. If you're a hiker, mountain biker, whatever, rock climber, this great weather. Amazing, cool. Okay, great. I'm going to call it a night then. We will be back again next weekend, next Thursday. Thank you.